Streets and Scholars, Alex Alonso and FG, bringing you another banger. What's going on with the general? The general's in the house.
No motherfucking doubt. It's all good, Alex. How you doing today?
Oh man, it's all good. I'm just over here. The first thing I wanted to tap in with was Tory Lanez real quick.
Yeah, he was back in court today. Was he there or just attorneys?
Nah, he was there.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see bro in this county jumpsuit.
Oh yeah, because he's he's incarcerated.
Yeah, he's incarcerated now. He's technically he's serving his time because he's getting credit for every day.
Yeah.
That he's in the county.
No doubt.
So whatever his sentence is going to be, he's already into the sentence.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had a special hearing today because he changed his attorneys. He changed his he had George McDesian, and he decided to go with David Kenner.
Yeah, that was surprising to me, man. I don't know what the move was about, but it was surprising to me.
Yeah, and everyone knows David Kenner from the Suge Knight, Death Row days.
Yeah.
I believe he helped bail Tupac out of jail back in 95.
Yeah, somewhere up in there. Yeah.
And he also helped with Snoop Dogg's murder case back in 93. So, yeah, he's been around for a minute, but I'm not really sure what can he do after the fact.
That's what I was wondering. You know what I mean? When you said you was at court today, I was wondering, like, damn, what's going on? Is he filing a motion? What's going,
Well, they just put it on record that he is the new attorney, so no motion's been filed. They even rescheduled the sentencing for February 28th, but I already know that David Kenner is going to be trying to do some sort of appeal.
Right.
Probably do some sort of try to get bail.
Bond appeal,
yeah. So that's definitely, I'm sure, why Tory Lanez decided to go with this attorney, because he's got specialty in that area.
No doubt.
So, but yeah, when I was in the court today, though, it was a trip because after the hearing was over, which was really short, and I got to the hearing a few minutes late. I think the hearing was finished by 1:45. It must have started. They were scheduled to start at 1:30. They probably didn't start right away. I got there about 1:40, so I missed a few minutes.
Right.
I heard the tail end of it, and then after in the hallway at about, let's say, 1:52, David Kenner is accusing me of recording parts of the hearing with my cell phone.
No shit?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, were you?
No.
Okay. Shit, I got to ask too. Shit.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I have never whipped out my cell phone inside a courtroom ever.
No, I think, I think you got more integrity than that, from what you done displayed on, handling some of these cases. But, so what ended up happening?
Well, the bailiff, the deputy, came out into the hallway and came up to me and said, "Hey, the judge wants to holler at you." So I'm thinking, okay, Judge David Hereford, I know the dude. We worked together before.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he just wants to see how I'm doing.
Right.
We've had small chat before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, the judge wanted to just see how I'm doing. No problem. I walk in there and it's like David Kenner standing behind me. I look over. I'm like, okay, what's going on? David Kenner says, I believe this man was recording the hearing. And the judge says, well, Alex knows better than that. So I voluntarily handed my phone over to the deputies just so that there's no funny style stuff going on.
Right.
I said, go look through my phone. So the deputy looked through the phone. She even went into the deleted folder, just to see if I was moving stuff around. And she told the judge, no, there's nothing on his phone. So I just thought that was bizarre, crazy. I think this is a result of just how ghetto and how messy the people that go to this trial have made this. They've made it a spectacle, really.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that came from, but nah, I absolutely is 100% innocent on that.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. They're going to, even if it's just David Kenner or some of his people, they're going to have somebody watching your page, bro. You know what I mean? To see if anything come out of that sort, like you say. I mean, you hand-delivered the information verbally anyway, but at the same time, he going to be watching.
Well, I was actually giving Tory Lanez the benefit of the doubt this whole entire trial.
Yeah, but it wasn't on Tory. I don't think Tory said, man, I think Alex, I think that was something on David Kenner's behalf. I don't know if you guys have something in the past or anything like that, but at the same time, it probably was strictly on his behalf. And, or maybe he really thought he saw something, you know what I mean?
Well, no, he said that, so after the whole thing was over and after they gave me back my phone, and we were back in the hallway. I actually was having a meeting with another attorney that had nothing to do with Tory Lanez case. I was there meeting on a trial that we got coming up that I'm consulting with, and I see Kenner in the hallway talking to a whole bunch of people. So I said, you know what? I need to address this, so he knows who I am, what I'm about. So I told the attorney I was meeting with, I said, give me a second, I gotta holler at Kenner. So I went over to Kenner and I said, dude, I ain't never recorded nothing. I don't know where you got this information from. I don't know who's lying to you. But then he says, well, 3 people said you were doing it. I was like, 3 people? And I'm looking around, well, everybody's here. What 3 people said that?
Right.
And he was quiet about it. And I just put him on notice. You got the wrong one. I said, I've been coming to this courthouse for almost 2 decades strong, and ain't nothing like this ever been on my name.
Right.
So then he just nodded his head. That was it. And then I went back to my meeting, and that was it.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
Yeah, it's a little crazy, man. It's the first time I ever met Kenner, and it's under these types of circumstances, being accused of something. But yeah, it's he got a court date for February 28th, which I don't think it's going to probably extend after that, because Kenner's also good at delays, pushing dates back. So I think the goal is to just have Tory in the county jail for as long as they can keep him there while they're doing this whole appeal thing.
Yeah, but that's LA County jail, man. That just keeping him there gonna get old real fast. He gonna get tired of that shit, and he gonna say, man, something need to give. You can't give me bail. You ain't gonna do like the rest of us, man. Shit, get me to the yard.
Yeah, but the difference with Tory Lanez, he's not in the LA County jail part that you and I would be in. See, because he's a celebrity, they got him in high power.
Okay.
Single man cell.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah.
I got my own TV. I got my own space. And everybody on that tier is high power. So I think it's a little bit easier to deal. You're away from all the drama in the LA County jail.
Yeah, to a certain degree.
You're a keep away, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
So keep aways don't really have to deal with none of the drama. Ain't no taking fades.
No, it ain't about that part. It's just about that, walls though. You still in prison. You still LA County jail. You not getting better food. You still got rats and roaches running around, man. You still got the element, homie. You know what I mean? So when it ain't just so much about somebody pressing you, because really probably nobody probably would anyway. He ain't did nothing to know. You know what I mean? He he don't claim no hood or nothing like that, right? You know, so yeah, but it's just that county jail, man. It's just treacherous as far as the living conditions.
Yeah, well, I'd rather, if I was him, I think I'm in a good space in high power. Are you familiar with high power and what it's like in there?
One man cell, yeah, you know what I mean? And last time I was in, last time I went to the county jail, and funny story is last time I went that we was in a cell, hadn't been in damn near 15 years, 20 years or something. So when I got there, we was all in this tank finally, because you're going to be in 100 different tanks. So before they go houses, they was writing letters on people's hand. You know what I mean? And I hadn't been there so long, man. I didn't know it. I guess there's some new shit. This dude got an L, that dude got an M, you know what I mean? But I ain't paying no attention because I don't care where I go, you know what I mean? My bail already in. Hopefully I don't be here too long. So they put an H on my hand, and I didn't pay no attention to it. So I seen the little cat say, hey, man, where you going? You do like, I'm going to medium. You know what I mean? Okay, you do say, man, I got an L. Okay, well, you going to go to the dorm. So I looked at my shit, you know what I mean? Still didn't dawn on me what the H stand for, And they came, about 4 or 5 officers came to the door, called my name, Thornton. I walked to the door, looked at my hand, 6 of them escorted me on my way. So I'm looking around like, well, I take 6 officers. Didn't realize, I was going to high security. One man cell, was what it was,
Why were they sending you there?
Bro, I had no idea. I ain't been to the county jail in had been there 15, 20 years. So I'm thinking, do they really keep all the records and tabs on you just like that? For when they classifying you in the county jail? I hadn't been in so long, Alex. I figured I was going to Disneyland in that motherfucker. You know what I mean? And shit, they didn't forget nothing. I don't know if they ran my jacket or ran my whole profile or my prison record. I don't know what they did, Next day, my bail came through. I got up out that thing.
So this is after you came home from the feds?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was just a little something you picked up, a little case you picked up?
Basically, somebody, they tried to put something on me, but it didn't work out for them.
Okay, so that means that they pulled up your whole Fed history,
they
probably?
Had to, bro, to send me to high power, homie. You know what I mean? High security. They had to. You know, like I said, I hadn't been in the county jail and since the 90s, you know. But yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, they don't send everybody to high power, so it had to be something.
Had to be something, you know what I mean? But like I say, that my bail was already in. I shouldn't have never even made it to the county jail, you know. I should have been bailed out at the substation at Linwood, you know, and but I made it there, and that's what it was.
Damn, that's crazy. So
not to mention, you know, you get to the substation and usually there a day or two before that same night they sent me to the county jail. I was like, damn.
So how much time did you get to spend in the high power unit?
I had just the night I got there say at night, maybe about 11 at night. Shit, by 9 in the morning, I was out of there.
Did you get to see who else was?
I didn't see not one person before they racked my gates on my bail. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they usually keep all the celebrities there. I remember the baseball player Lenny Dykstra. He was put in high power when he was in there. The Mexican mafia guy named Lalo Martinez. They kept him in high power.
Yeah, but they also got a different side. They got a side for celebrity, and then with Suge and them was that.
Yeah.
They got a side for the gangbangers, homie. So I was waiting to come out and see, you know what I mean, who was all on this motherfucking you know, on this in this unit. You know what I mean? And so they got a different side. They not gonna put Suge and on the side with or Tory Lanez. They wasn't gonna put them on the side with, you know, the Bounty Hunters or the Grape Streets or the, you know what I mean? It is a difference, even though it's all high security. You know what I mean? So.
Well, you know, I interviewed a dude named Isaac Pedroza. He's from Lomas originally, Barrio Lomas. He told me when he was in high power, they had Lenny Dykstra, the baseball player, next to him. Yeah, and he said they became friends.
Hey, man, that could definitely happen.
And then actually one day he called me up. He said he was going to go hang out with Lenny Dykstra, and he came pick me up.
Oh, they was on the street by then?
Yeah, they had already got out, and he actually introduced me to Lenny Dykstra. That dude's a crazy dude. He used to play for the Mets. I think he got a title with the Mets, but he got caught up in some stuff here in L.A., was in high power. I think Todd Bridges was in high power. I don't remember Todd Bridges from
Different Strokes.
Different Strokes. He shot a dude at point blank range like 5 times when he was on a crack cocaine binge.
Man, I remember he was on that, man. You know, I hated to see him go through that, man.
And you know who his lawyer was that got him off too? It was incredible. That's the first time I ever said, man, this lawyer's amazing. It was Johnny Cochran.
Oh, was it? Okay.
He got Johnny Cochran. The dude that he shot actually testified and pointed, Todd Bridges shot me. And he got a not guilty.
He still got away. Yeah,
he still got away. So Todd Bridges, I mean, over the years, I think Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr.
There's been quite a few people. So now Tory Lanez is the latest dude that's probably up there in high power now.
Well, I mean, somebody gonna hear from him. He gonna, you know, spit some something out, say how he live and, you know, what he feel, and you should come out in a minute.
Now, what was interesting is he came out in an orange jumpsuit, but he had a black do-rag on his head. And I thought that was interesting because I didn't know if they let you keep, you know, wear stuff like that while you already in custody.
You know what? Like I said, I ain't been there in 20-something years. You know, the store is different, I heard. You know, you don't even have cash on you like when I was there. When I was there, you know, we was shooting dice with real money.
Yeah.
You know, Big Smiley and them from 84 Swan and them was all, you know, that's how it was back then.
And they had a money bag made out of
the money bag, thread. Made out of thread. You already know. But I believe it's cashless now.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
it's been cashless for a minute.
Yeah, so like I said, I ain't been in so long, man. I couldn't tell you what's on the commissary, what's not. But I know this shit is high as hell, you know. Now let me ask you this: that new phone call situation where they saying that inmates now should be able to call home for free. Is the county jails exempt, or is that just for prison?
I think that's for prison because my wife has a nephew that called the other day from the CDC for free.
Okay.
So I guess it's a special program now.
Yeah, I had wanted to ask somebody who was in there, and I ain't got no calls yet, but I wanted to see do they got to sign up on the list, or is it a special time of day or week that they get to use the phone? Because it seems like if it's free, it's much more people that want to use it. How is they managing letting everybody use it? I know back in the day when we was at Jamestown in 93, 94, they you had to get on the call list. Jump on the call list at 3:00. You better be right there to make your call. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or you just gonna miss your little 15 minutes. So I'm wondering, is it something similar to that?
Well, maybe one of our listeners from Streets and Scholars that knows the ins and outs of this new phone system could tap in with us and let us know what that is, because that is kind of a new thing that's going on now.
Yeah, tap in with us.
Free phone calls. That's kind of cool, though.
No doubt, man. I mean, you know, you want to stay in touch with your family, but you also a burden on them if you know, trying to call and, you know, they have to send you the money, you know, so yeah, that's a good thing.
Okay, man. I wanted to tap in with a couple of topics here. Young Thug, jury selection has been going on in the Young Thug case. I haven't had really a chance to tap in with it. I'm just going to wait till the actual testimony, where the witnesses come. But right now they're just picking a jury. Let me just play this clip to update everybody what's going on over here in Atlanta with Young Thug.
Co-defendants involved in the YSL RICO case were back in court today. 200 potential jurors completed their questionnaires.
Crazy.
And the judge began reviewing if any of the potential jurors should be excused from jury duty. 11 Alive reporter Bobeth Yates was in the courtroom. So Bobeth, how did all of this play out today?
Well, the day actually began with the jurors filling out a 37-page questionnaire asking them everything from what they last posted on social media to how they will impact with some of these defendants. And that didn't just end there. The judge, as you mentioned, also heard hardship claims from jurors who said they did not want to serve.
Can you tell me a little bit about what surgery you had and why you're asking for an excusal at this point?
Out of 200 potential jurors present Monday, 122 expressed hardship claims. And today, Judge Glanville considered each of those claims as to why a juror could not serve on the Young Slime Live RICO trial involving rapper Young Thug and 13 other defendants. And those hardship claims ranged from having child care issues to concerns about loss of pay.
So if you were selected for this jury, would that cause you to pay more attention to your financial condition than it would be what's going on in the four walls of the courtroom?
And Judge Glanville made it clear he's considering this case a priority and wanted those involved to do the same.
This particular trial started. It takes precedent over any other business you may have.
But the hardship claims were only part of the day's process. Potential jurors also filled out a 37-page questionnaire, which included questions ranging from your favorite recreational activities or if you could be fair and impartial to someone with neck tattoos. Now, the questionnaire will become a major part of the jury selection process after the hardship claims have been completed. We're told the judge will not get through all 122 claims filed today, and they'll continue those on Thursday. Now, an additional 400 hardship claims will be reviewed on Tuesday and Wednesday. Live in Atlanta, Bobeth Yates, 11 Alive News.
Man, just picking a jury for this case is going to be like time consuming in and of itself, man. And I think I remember we talked about this where we need more black folks doing their civic duty as working on juries.
No doubt, but at the same time, you made a great point though too, Alex, that you don't get paid. So me missing some days of work, bro. I mean that hurts. And I'm sure for a lot of other Americans that work a job and they don't. I mean, you shouldn't have to take out your savings account to pay your bills because you going on trial for somebody that. I mean, you don't got shit to do with it. You know what I mean? So you causing a burden on me, to have to come do this, even though I do understand that we do need more black people to go be jurors. You know what I mean? And so I get it both ways. That's the crazy part about it. I get it both ways.
Well, I don't know how long this jury selection is going to take, but it's also multiple juries, multiple co-defendants. And I heard that this trial could take months.
No doubt it could, but I'm just tripping off some of the reasons that people are saying that they don't want to come. You know what I mean? And, they probably know it's going to be a lengthy trial. They also probably know that, the media and things of that nature is going to be running rampant, so they're going to hear things, But I really believe that most of it is financial.
Yeah, child care, we heard, hardship claims. I also thought it was interesting. One of the questions is, can you be fair and impartial to somebody that has neck tattoos?
I heard that. Why they just don't pay the jurors, man? Why they just don't pay them?
I think they pay them, but it's just like some.
I mean, why don't
daily...
they pay them something almost equal to what they get paid at work? I mean, how do you expect people not to go to work? Dude said take precedence over anything basically else going on in your life.
Yeah, even though you're not getting paid for it.
Even though you're not getting paid for it, man. I mean, I don't see so many people willing to sign up for that.
Maybe it's part of this. Maybe that's part of the system to keep black people off the jury because they know we need our money more than anybody else.
No doubt, you know what I mean? So it could be a conspiracy all the way around.
Yeah, you know, that's a conspiracy that I can definitely tap in with because, you know, only white folks could afford to sit out like this. So that's why we look at a jury, we see 12 jurors and we see like 10 white folks.
No doubt.
And damn, my life is in the hands of these folks.
Man.
I can't get no brothers and sisters on this jury.
No doubt.
Oh, I understand. They got to take care of their kids. Oh, they don't have any money. Oh, they're not getting paid. So who gets screwed at the end?
Hey, you already know.
And so yeah, it's a trip, man. But I'm gonna tap in with that case once the actual evidence starts.
Right.
You know, this is the jury selection. That's a whole process.
Yeah.
That I'm not really paying much attention to. But yeah, that's all I have on the Young Thug case. Anything comes to mind regarding Young Thug's case that you've been wanted to tap in with?
Just getting pissed off at Gunner making videos and making he all on YouTube and he chatting. You know. And like even today he posted a little thing and say, you know, people out there trying to cause separation. It ain't no separation. They still won. And, you know, then he also said, you know, I'm still from the streets. And all right, bro.
Yeah, I saw that, man. And, you know, I'm waiting to get his attorney to come and give us an interview. But he said he can only do it after the jury is selected.
Oh, okay.
But you still stand with what we spoke about, what was that, 2 episodes ago? That statement he gave in court, that was enough to be put in that category,
yeah,
huh?
No doubt, you know. But like I say, people still going to buy his music. The ladies going to still chase him. But man, get off YouTube talking about, man, you still from the streets and all this extra shit, man.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna wait to see if bro actually comes to court and actually testify because I believe didn't the lady say in court if needed. If we need you to come to court, you have to be here. And he said, yes, ma'am, or some shit like that.
I'm not sure, but I don't think they going to need him. I think they got enough.
Yeah, they probably don't need him.
Yeah.
All right, man. I wanted to talk about Damar Hamlin. What position did he play? Safety?
Corner DB for the Buffalo Bills.
Apparently, dude is recovering, and he's doing better than expected. And let's see. This is a report. Let me see if I got an update on Damar Hamlin here.
Well, I know they moved him from Cincinnati. He's back in Buffalo now, so at least he's back home around some loved ones and things of that nature.
Okay, I thought I had a clip here about his progress, but were you surprised that I believe he's on Twitter? He posted an update and they got him in stable condition.
No, I mean, you know, we've had people and seen people, you know, cardiac arrest, basically damn near like a heart attack, ain't it? And so we've seen people come back from it, you know, and I'm glad the Buffalo Bills went on and honored his contract. He had a clause in there where he had some kind of split clause where if he got injured, I guess they split the money, you know what I mean? But they gonna honor his contract. It was only for about like $3.64 million. It ain't like he was getting 50, 60 million a year or nothing. But I mean, but he need his 3.64, you know what I mean? And I'm just wondering if he's gonna be able to recover to the point to where even if he don't play sports, he can live a normal life.
Well, let's play this clip of Damar Hamlin's recovery, and then we'll tap in with that in a second. Here we go.
Minutes ago, Damar Hamlin says he's not home just yet, but he's making great progress in his recovery. He also thanked the staff at the Buffalo Hospital where he was transferred to yesterday, and he says he's having more tests and passing. The new doctors taking care of the 24-year-old upgraded him to stable condition. The Buffalo Bills safety spent about a week in a Cincinnati hospital after his heart stopped during a game. NBC News correspondent Jesse Kirsch is in Buffalo, New York for us today. So, Jesse, what do we know about Hamlin's treatment in Buffalo now and the next steps for him?
Yeah, Aaron, so first off, we know that from his time in Cincinnati to here, he's moved from critical to stable condition, according to doctors. And you saw he was talking about in that tweet, going through testing. One of the things his doctors in Cincinnati expected will continue to happen here is testing to try to figure out what caused his collapse and cardiac arrest on the field in the middle of a football game last week. So that is something that is potentially being looked at right now, and you can see that he said he is still being tested, but he didn't elaborate more on what those tests are for. So it's great news to hear that he's in stable condition. He says he is according to his doctors in Cincinnati, been able to walk. We know, according to the team, that he FaceTimed with them. So we're hearing that he's been able to talk as well, spend time with family. And doctors say he was even jumping up and down to celebrate his teammates when they had a kickoff return for a touchdown in their first play back since his collapse last week. We also know that since he has now moved here to Buffalo, according to his head coach, Sean McDermott, Coach was able to visit with him a little bit yesterday. Here's part of what Coach told us about that experience.
Having him nearby, you can feel, his energy, and it just feels like he's back where he's back home. He still has obviously some things to go through with the medical team and the care that he's under. And we have to handle our business here as well. He would want us to do that.
Okay, so far so good. It looks like he's definitely going to survive this situation, but it remains to be seen if Bro could play again on that level.
Yeah. I doubt it. I don't think I can't even see him passing the physical to be able to until they had extensive tests, time that went on, things of that nature. So we'll keep our eye on it.
So you think it's a pretty it's going to be a difficult road for him to get back on that field?
I just want to see him get back on his feet, regularly, get back to riding his bike, driving his car, going to the bank, dropping his kids off at school if he have any. That's the part I want to see first. The field part, for me, comes later, but I just want to see him be regular first before even discussing, some of that nature, playing the ball again.
Well, I think because he's already in stable condition and basically in a week, that's a hell of a good sign. I thought that dude would be like laid up in critical condition for a longer period of time, but since he's already made this much progress, I think it's looking good for him. I didn't think he would be able to play ball, but I think maybe he might be back on the field in next season.
I don't know. I don't think he'll ever play again. But if he chose to get back out there and risk it, it's because football is a very, risky sport in general. So I'm going to see.
Now, remember we were talking about that hit? It didn't really look crazy.
Right.
I only saw it from this one angle. I was talking to somebody, and they said that if you look at it from other angles, you can tell he got hit in the chest pretty hard, but I can only see this one angle, which is sort of like the backside of it. You can't really see what happened to his chest. Did you see the hit from other angles?
I can't recall some other angles. I can't. But I've just from the way that the hit was, I've seen a lot harder hits, and maybe it could have just been in the right spot, or maybe it could have been, because you got shoulder pads that come down over your chest. So you can't even hit, down here to the under the chest plate, under the rib cage is where your pads stop. So he still had pads on, was hit with pads on top of him, and then shocked your heart like that. I believe that had more to do with his heart than it did with the hit.
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because he got, and those pads, if I remember correctly, when I used to wear them, there's a flat pad. Like I don't know if it's just one piece or if it's a piece and another piece that kind of flaps over that front piece.
And they got them pads, got so much technology in them now, man. It's that shouldn't have happened, but it did. And I'm sure they running a bunch of tests to see, what happened, how did it happen? But at this moment, I'm still puzzled.
Yeah, they even said in that clip we just listened to that they're trying to figure out the cause. And I'm thinking the cause was the hit, right? It was obviously the hit to somewhere in his upper body that caused that. I can't think of anything else. But hey, when I was in middle school, we used to play this crazy game. I didn't realize how crazy it is, until later. It could have killed somebody. But we used to press on people's chests while they stand against the wall, and used to knock them out. Just within a few seconds, you knock the person out. And we used to do that shit against the wall. And years later, I find out, man, you could have killed somebody doing that.
You could have killed somebody. I think a little girl came up in the hospital over there somewhere in one of these states, and what it is loss of oxygen. You could lose oxygen into the brain, man, and pass right on out,
Man, it was a stupid game that we played over at John Burroughs. I think one dude just did it at school, and everybody was curious. All right, do me.
Right.
All right, do him.
Yeah.
Everybody's taking turns getting knocked out off of
crazy.
But if you can get just knocked out like that with a hard push on the chest, I'm surprised we don't see this more in football where dudes get knocked out from hits to the chest.
You got a point. You got a point, man. It's just, thankfully we haven't. But, you know what I mean? You definitely got a point.
All right, well wishes to Damar Hamlin. I'm hoping bro can get back on that field because I know a lot of people is relying on him and his family and his inner circle. Even though his contract wasn't that fat, I think you what was it, $3 or $4 million?
Yeah, it was 3.6. His salary this year was $825,000, but he's a fairly new guy, he's still in his rookie contract. You know, had he made it out his rookie contract, that's when the big money comes.
Yeah.
You know, they want to make sure, that first 5 years you durable and you can, play to the level for 5 years that they want you to play. It didn't used to be like that. It used to get big money coming right out of college, but they kind of changed that a little bit. Only like the first couple picks, first 8-9 picks going to get some money. The rest of them not going to get money like they used to. So with this guy right here, man, if he could have made it, like I say, outside his rookie contract, then he might have had the big contract with a lot more money guaranteed.
So this means that this situation might have prevented him from ever getting that big contract then.
No doubt, it'd be hard to see a team give him a chance, even if he did say he was healthy. Some teams just probably don't want to do it just based on, especially if they don't come up with what the exact cause was. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, man, unfortunately, the guy may have to go out there, use his degree, and get him some work, get him a job.
Damn, that's crazy that this happened to him at the age he was at. 24 years old means he was about to finish that rookie contract and probably get to sign his bigger money, which would have been, he probably would have got at least $3 or $4 or $5 million per year.
No doubt.
On that second contract.
Right.
But as a rookie, I think he was a second string too, right? He was.
I don't know.
But that he was making less than $1 million.
Yeah.
And man, this just probably ruined his chance for a big payday. But hopefully he'll get back, and we'll see, man. Damar Hamlin is in stable condition, and looks like he's going to be all right. Let's tap in with. I want to tap in with this topic that I guess you covered it on FG Unleashed. You covered this topic of this bro that was getting pulled over by the sheriffs down in Gardena.
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
And this officer was just mouthing off to him. Actually, let's before you get into that, let me play this clip so people could hear the way. Well, actually, set it up for us, and because most of our people are listening to this, they can't see it. So tell us exactly what it looks like.
Well, the guy just sitting in his car. Sheriff rode up on him, opened his door, tried to grab his hand to tell him to get out. You know what I mean? He like, for what? So the one officer pulled out some pepper spray, said, man, you don't get out, I'm gonna spray you. Dude, like, get out for what though? You know what I mean? They said, like, well, what are you doing? He like, I'm sitting in my car. And so he quickly changed that pepper spray to a pistol. And once he whipped that pistol out, man, they gonna hear the verbal language of what's going on, man. And it was just crazy, man. The guy was just sitting in his car.
All right, let me play this clip right quick.
To shoot an unarmed black man while he is parked in his car in Gardena. The Sheriff's Department released that body cam video in an effort to be transparent.
The video has gone viral, sparking public outrage and concern. KTLA 5's Rick Chambers is live in Gardena where it all happened. Rick.
Yeah, Pedro, that man that you see in the video there is said to be a rapper whose stage name is Feezy Lebron. Now, this is a pretty busy little parking lot here, too. There's two very popular weed dispensaries at the other end, and people are coming and going all the time. Now, this particular man was sitting in his car on his phone when the deputies approached. Take a look.
What are you doing?
Stop. It was just before 6 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Rapper Feezy Lebron is sitting in his car in this Gardena parking lot along Crenshaw Boulevard when passing LA County deputies stop and demand that he get out.
All right, I'm just going to spray you. Get out. Get out or you're getting sprayed. Get out or you're getting sprayed. Get out.
This body cam footage shows one deputy standing off to the right as the other threatens to spray the rapper with a chemical if he stays in the car. Then suddenly, it escalates.
You take off in this car, I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to make it super easy on you. You put this car in drive, you're getting one right to the chest. I don't care what you got. I don't care if you got on you, but guess what, bro? Now you got to deal with it. But if you pull some bull, you're going to take one to the chest.
With his hands raised, the rapper asks, "Why do you want to shoot me?"
You going to comply or no?
Comply with?
If you move your hands from right there, you're in trouble.
So you going to shoot me? I'm sitting in the damn car, bro.
At this point, the deputy calls for backup.
Move your hands from right there, and you're done.
So I'm under arrest or what, bro? You got guns.
You are most definitely 1,050% detained.
Feezy is told that if he doesn't comply with the deputies, he'll be arrested and his car towed. He decides to get out.
Because right now you already resisted my partner by ripping your hand away.
Your partner came and opened my damn door by himself.
Step out and comply to him.
Your partner came and opened my damn door.
Newly elected Sheriff Robert Luna, who campaigned on improving community relations, released this body cam footage and a statement today saying in part, one deputy displayed pepper spray, then drew his firearm and used unprofessional language, which later resulted in a complaint filed by the community member. The Sheriff's Department has opened an investigation into the deputy's actions and language. In the end, that man with the rapper was given a ticket for having a missing license plate. He was not arrested, though.
Man, that's crazy. What happened to, what's his name, Feezy?
Feezy Lebron.
Feezy Lebron got done dirty because, I'm gonna put a link to this video in the show notes right underneath this episode. Regardless if you're listening to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, there will be a link to this video. I was a little bothered, man, how they just drew down on dude and he had his hands up the whole time.
No doubt, but that's how they do it, Alex. You know what I mean? They roll up on you. They just snatch you up out your car, man. You know, if you ain't got nothing, they let you go, but they done already violated every right you had. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I do understand and realize that there's other people, you know, there's people out, there's bad guys out there. But take me to jail for being a bad guy, you know, or, you know, don't just walk up to me violating every right. You don't know what I am. You know, you don't know if I'm an attorney. You don't know if I'm a cop, they self or another cop. You don't know what I am. You know what I mean? But this is what's going on with the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. This is how they carrying it out there. This is how they rock and rolling. So, you know, when people get to talking about, you know, how is it, you know, people always getting shot. This is how it's happening. You know, they real aggressive. They pushing up on you. They drawing down on you. And hey, man, like you say, dude, to put his hand on the steering wheel, dude, to shot him.
Yeah, I was expecting at the end of the video to say that Feezy Lebron was wanted on murder warrants and you know, trafficking.
He had 2 pistols under the seat. Yeah, nah, man.
They just gave him a ticket.
Man, they see, and then they had to go find something to give him a ticket for. You know what I mean? To kind of make it half-ass legit. You know, and man, that's crazy, homie. But this is what's going on in the inner cities, bro. This is what's happening out here, man. To a young black male driving while black right here in Los Angeles County. You know, this is how it's going.
So you tapped in on FG Unleashed on your YouTube channel on this topic.
No doubt. I got a whole video over there that they can go check out, you know, and get my opinion on it, you know, and my unfiltered opinion and check it out. But, hey, man, this got to stop.
Well, I don't think he's going to have to pay for that ticket. I'm sure that the new sheriff, Robert Luna, is going to rip that ticket up and hopefully reprimand those deputies that decided to escalate. You see, this video is a clear example of how the deputies are not trained in de-escalation. They're trained in escalation.
No doubt, you know, because they took off fast. You know, threats came quick. You know, couldn't even tell the guy why you even opening my car door while I'm sitting here. It's not illegal to sit somewhere in the car, man. You know, but they make it, you know, to where, man, let me tell you something, man. They make it to where, you know, it's a problem just being around them. You know, because when they jump out on you, they, like you say, they ripping your door open. They not asking for license, insurance, registration, appropriate things they should be asking. You know, the guy didn't seem abbreviated, didn't seem, you know, high. He didn't seem, you know, nothing. So why is you threatening to shoot this man just because, you know, he don't want to let you violate his rights? And this is LA County Sheriff's Department.
I think the dude, Feezy Lebron, conducted himself very calm too.
No doubt, but you got to understand that just probably, you know, this shit happens every day, Alex. You know, and we get used to it and we think it's normal. You know, and see, that's the thing about it. And my cousin came out here from Birmingham, Alabama, and he rolling around with me. So we happened to roll through Compton, man, and the police pulled us over. You know, and I can tell from his reaction that this ain't how they did it in Birmingham. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm calm and cool and collective based on, I know this is standard operating procedure, you know, and it's a shame because this shouldn't be, you know, or I shouldn't be so comfortable with, you know, letting them pull you out the car, put you in the back seat, you know, do all these certain circumstances, you know, but I know arguing and fussing and fighting with them, I know where that can lead as well. You know, so at the end of the day, man, you know, a lot of guys from LA in the inner city, Los Angeles County, you know, they are going to be calm because this shit happens on a daily, you know, so.
I think that deputy that said that if you move, I'm going to shoot. I think he said, I'm going to give you one in the chest.
Man, one to the chest, man.
I think that officer should just be fired.
Man, look, he displayed poor reasoning skills. It didn't even have a reason. So, you know, he just, like I say, he escalated that, man. But he's out here doing this every night. You know, he's pulling up on people. He's drawing down. That's a threat. You know, he's threatening people, manhandling dudes. You know, you take this dude out of his car. You know, everything checks out. Let me walk around and see what I can give him a ticket for. He thought he was smart or he was being smart on that behalf because he know the body cam is. Think about when he didn't have to have his body cam on. You know what I mean? He was getting away with all this. You know, now he's gonna bust you in the ribs or something, and you know what I mean, bust you upside the head with that billy club and stuff. You know, and you know, you get me?
Yeah, it's amazing that the body cam is to a certain degree an equalizer in showing the activities of law enforcement. But some like this cop, he didn't care that his body cam was going because everything he did and said, I believe, goes against policy of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, but nonetheless, he did it anyways.
Let me tell you why. Because 90% of us wouldn't have filed a complaint.
That's
you know,
true.
The guy, Feezy Lebron, or somebody with him, or some nearby, somebody filed a complaint, and they had to go take a look into the complaint. Most of us gonna go about our day. We didn't go to jail. We didn't get shot. Man, I gotta go I got shit to do. You know what I mean? Which is unfortunate. You know what I mean? If more complaints was filed, more police officers can be looked into. But sometimes, man, people are so overwhelmed with the shit that they got to do in their day. Alex, once you undetain me, I'm out of here. You know what I mean? I got shit to do. You know.
Now let me ask you about this filing the complaint because we talked about this before, but I don't mind revisiting it. Mm-hmm. Is it a form of snitching?
You know,
if you're from the streets, though.
Me personally, I wouldn't have filed a complaint. But I'm not going to sit here and tell the next law-abiding man or the next person, period. If anybody, I don't care if he a gangster, though, Alex.
Even if they roughed you up illegally?
No, I'm finna tell you, this shit is getting out of hand.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, if somebody say they filed a complaint because something that a police officer did to him, man, bro, it's starting to, that's the only way it's going to half-ass get fixed or be brought to the light. If we just keep letting them do shit to us, you know what I mean? We'll never get nowhere. We'll never get no justice. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel no type of way about dude filing the complaint just based on, you know, he wasn't doing. I mean, he seemed like a law-abiding citizen. You know what I mean? And it wouldn't be video wouldn't have went viral, or we wouldn't get another look into the sheriff's department if the complaint wasn't filed.
But why wouldn't you want to file a complaint like that?
Basically, I mean, for one, I would have just got out the car because I know what you're looking for. If I'm clean, I'm talking shit while I'm getting out the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm talking big shit. You know, I might say some shit insulting, but I'm clean and, you know, go and do what I know what they coming to do. They looking for guns and dope. I've dealt with the LA County Sheriff's Department since I was 9 years old, bro. Yeah. I know what they looking for. They ain't taking you to jail for weed. They want guns and dope. And if you don't have that, man, you know me personally, that's what I was talking about with my cousin. I just got out the car. I know what y'all on. You know what I mean? But it was good to see that these sheriffs was put on blast. You know, so the people, LA County, and the rest of the people around America can see exactly what's going on and how they treating us. I don't have no problem with the dude going to file a complaint. You know, they shouldn't have harassed him like they did, but it's just like I said, this shit didn't happen so many times. I know how to respond and get it done and over with so fast that, you know, I just wouldn't have did it.
What if they roughed you up on a traffic stop where you did nothing wrong, you had no guns, you had no dope, and then they end up giving you a stupid ticket and let you go on your way?
Well, the thing about it is more or less like, Alex, I do really believe that, and it's rare you see them just pull you out your car and start beating on you. It's usually some words being exchanged. It's usually it's something it's hard to, they want you to tell them something. If that's the case, hey, tell us who. I ain't telling you shit. And they start hitting me with the Billy Club. You also talking about the younger me too. You know what I mean? I definitely wouldn't file a complaint if it was to happen to me tonight. You know what I mean? I probably still wouldn't file a complaint. You know what I mean? I would take it on the chin and shit. And go on about my business.
I'm definitely filing a complaint.
I ain't mad at you, shit.
In fact, I filed a
I ain't
complaint.
mad at you, shit.
I actually remember a complaint I filed. I got pulled over by a well-known officer named Officer Flowers, a light-skinned brother, LAPD. Actually, I heard he's resting in peace now, but this was about a decade ago. Bro pulled me over on Washington and said, "You was speeding, Alex." I said, "I wasn't speeding, Flowers." "Yeah, you was." I said, "No, I wasn't."
Yeah.
And then he said, just admit it that you were speeding and I'll leave. I said, "What kind of game you playing here? I'm not admitting to nothing." He said, "You were speeding." I said, "I wasn't." "All right, I'm giving you a ticket." And then he gives me a ticket. I went right to the police station. I said, "Officer Flowers is harassing me like he does that." He's known for harassing.
Right. He got priors.
Yeah, he got a lot of priors. He's been harassing me. He said I was speeding. And then I even put in the report. He told me to admit that I was speeding and he wouldn't give me the ticket. The lady watch commander, she came out and she looked at the ticket. She ripped it up. She said, "Don't worry about this ticket."
Yeah.
I heard recently that Officer Flowers has passed, but he wasn't a good officer.
I mean, it's a lot of them now.
I hate to speak bad on the dead, but
I got you. But
but he was a bad officer.
Yeah.
I know other brothers that knew him that were cops. I know other black cops that knew him, and they always say he was a cool dude. But not when he was pulling people over, he wasn't a cool dude. So I filed a complaint against him. And then I filed a complaint against Southwest in 2019 where I got pulled over, and I got it on dash cam. I posted it on Street TV. You can see that one. I got pulled over for absolutely no reason, handcuffed and everything. And that complaint didn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
so I understand why some people don't complain because it don't go anywhere.
Right.
But that complaint, though, I did against Flowers, it got me out of that ticket, though.
Well, see, now with these body cams, though, body cams wasn't around back then. You filing the complaint is your word against theirs. With the body cam now, once that body cam is activated, the situation goes sour. Then you file a complaint. It may actually have to get visited just based on you have footage to say to back up your claim. Yeah. Coming up, you in the streets, wasn't no footage to back up nothing. So it's cool that she ripped up the one. I know. Yeah, because they know they officers.
That was amazing.
No, they know who they know they peoples.
I had no proof. I just went in there saying what I said.
Yeah, but they know they peoples, man.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So tap in with FG Unleashed to get your whole analysis of that. I would say an assault. That's an assault. Even though bro didn't get shot, that's still an assault against Feezy Lebron. And if you're listening, Feezy Lebron, tap in, man, and come on Streets and Scholars and tell us what went down, man. I'd love to interview you. And then we got one more story here. It's another cop story, man. This is a crazy cop story. This is a small little town in Tennessee. What's the name of this town, man? LaGrange Police Department in Tennessee.
LaGrange, is that near Nashville or Memphis?
I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing this right, but let me get the name of this city, this town right. LaVergne.
Oh, okay.
LaVergne. LaVergne. LaVergne Police, Tennessee. They had this one officer named Maegan Hall that she was fucking the whole police department, man.
Man, Maegan was swinging, man. I'm talking about, the disappointing thing is, 5 officers were fired?
No, well, she had sex with 6 different officers. Mm-hmm. 4 were fired.
4 were fired, including a detective and a sergeant.
Including a detective, 2 sergeants.
Damn.
And the sergeant was black. One of the sergeants was black, and the detective was black. And the officer, the female officer that was getting her freak on was a white officer.
Man, that coochie wasn't that good, bro. You know what I mean?
It had to be if it had 6 dudes.
Man, they done lost pensions, probably lost one for retirement funds. You fired from the job. But I just didn't think you could be fired because she didn't file no complaint. She didn't file the complaint.
No, the mayor got a tip, or
the mayor got a tip. He probably had the tip of his thing up in that day. He didn't want to get busted, but mayor was hating and got a tip from somebody. But nobody was. It wasn't a problem. Like it wasn't. Nobody got to fighting on the job. It was nothing like that.
No, everything was going smooth sailing until word got out that this woman was having sex with six different dudes, and Maegan Hall, the female officer, was married.
She was married. She did say she was in an open relationship. I do know that supposedly one of the couples she was supposed to allegedly, have some a swinging situation going on with the wife that didn't like it, but she kept the relationship going with the male officer. I just didn't know if it wasn't a problem or nobody arguing, fussing, and fighting at the job. I just didn't know. But they did say that they was having some sexcapade while on duty. But I just didn't know you could get fired for, Well,
look, I know a lot of officers, they be having sex on duty and they don't get in trouble for it.
Right.
This is nothing new. I remember when I was covering the Oscar Grant case where the brother that got shot in the back by BART officers up in Oakland. It turns out that two officers, we learned this in the trial, two officers that responded to the scene were involved in a sexual relationship. So this shit is not new. But for her to be involved with 6 different men in this department, man, that's got to be unusual, though.
No, it got to be. And I was just over here. That's why I was like smirking, like, that's like fucking 6 dudes from the same hood. I mean, you know what I mean? It's
it is.
You couldn't go to the next hood though. You couldn't have, if you from, you couldn't go to you couldn't hit 3 over here and 3 over there. Like she couldn't hit 3 in this department and go to the next department and knock 3 down over there. But it was, hey man, she was a freak for sure.
Hey man, the city of Vergne must be real small. Let me play a little clip out of Tennessee on this story right here. Let me see here. Here we go.
Shocked and disappointed. That's the word from one city leader as several Laverne police officers are off the job, all linked to a sexual misconduct scandal. Good evening, I'm Vicki Yates.
And I'm Rory Johnston. Yeah, tonight News Channel 5's Nick Barris shares the very latest developments as this investigation continues.
Several Laverne police officers here are caught up in something of a scandal. Everything from inappropriate sexual conduct, sexual harassment, lying, and word is, that's not the end of it.
Shocked and overall disappointed with our police department and what's happened.
Newly elected Alderman Kara Hobbs says since the story broke on Friday, she's been flooded with constituent calls.
It's been really frustrating from a leadership standpoint to have citizens' questions and concerns regarding this, and I'm learning the details right along with the general public.
Here is what we know. An internal investigative report documents explicit and graphic detail of officers involved in sexual misconduct, some of it happening while on duty and on city property. 5 have been fired. Patrol Officer Maegan Hall, Patrol Officer Juan Lugo Perez, Sergeant Lewis Powell, Detective Seneca Shields, and Sergeant Henry Ty McGowan. 3 others have been suspended: K-9 Officer Larry Holliday, Patrol Officer Patrick Magliocco, and Patrol Officer Gavin Schoberl. Hobbs says details of the investigation made public so far have shaken public confidence in the PD.
There's definitely going to be a time period where we're going to have to really emphasize rebuilding the trust of our community. Yeah.
Police Chief Chip Davis issued a statement saying, in part, the actions of a few do not represent the entire department. The situation will be addressed internally, and that counselors are being brought in to help officers. He also says there is sufficient staff remaining to cover all patrol shifts.
All right, man. That's a wild story there. I guess the way you pronounce that town is Laverne.
Yeah.
I'm a little like, I'm kind of like mixed on it. I feel like whatever people are doing in their private life, that's their private life. But at the same time, your private sexual life should be led by a level of responsibility. Like, so this woman, Maegan Hall, was reckless to me. You fucking 6 different cops. I mean, fucking 6 people just at the same, like during the same time, like during the same month or whatever. That's just out of control to have 6 partners at once. But I know there's a lot of people out there that say, "Hey, Alex, why you tripping?"
Yeah, no, you
right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even one, but I'm gonna be like, yeah, Alex, I know they saying you tripping. You know what I mean? Let live and let live is what a lot of people gonna say. But at the same time, for it to be a department the size that it is. You know what I mean? It's not like it's the Los Angeles County Jail where you have 1,000 officers. You know what I mean? And you make him wiggle between the 6. I'm not even gonna speak on her promiscuous, behavior. But at the same time, I believe this department was too small to be carrying it like that. Yeah, it's crazy. You know what I mean? I just didn't think they could be fired for it. Even though I know Magliocco, he definitely patrolman. I think his name was Paul Magliocco. He spilled the beans, man. But once you get these people in some of these situations, they're going to tell.
Yeah, Patrick Magliocco was able to keep his job, but he got suspended. He's a white dude. And Larry Holliday was able to keep his job. He was suspended. But Sergeant Lewis Powell, who's black, was fired. And Detective Seneca Shields, who was black, was fired. And I'm gonna put some pictures of I'm gonna put a picture of this girl, Maegan Hall. I call her a girl because she looks real young.
Yeah.
And I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about her. How would you hit it? But obviously these 6 guys enjoyed passing her around and tossing her up.
Well, I mean, she was a flipper, Alex. You got to respect her profession on what she was on, man. I guess when they see the picture, they'll see that maybe she didn't have a lot of boyfriends or people that were, on her like that when she was young. She come from a small town, or maybe, that things, sleeping with the buddy, the friend, the cousin is nothing big to her. Like I said, I'm not finna knock her on that aspect, but I'm just going to speak on, how the 2 black dudes got fired. It was some other races got fired as well, but I just didn't think this was a fireable offense. I believe at the end of the day, if you fired her, you know what I mean? Because she was the common denominator. If you fired her, I still wouldn't agree with it, but I could be like, okay. But to fire, 4 or 5 people just because they was, fornicating and, I don't believe that should be a fireable offense. Now, all these people we lost the trust of the police. They were still doing their job.
Yeah.
They just were getting their freak on. You know what I mean? I believe if you call them same officers to assist you in something, they would show up and do their job. But they got their ass up out of there.
Well, here's the penalties that the HR said, Human Resources said that they violated: sexual activity while on duty, sexual harassment, conduct unbecoming an officer, and lying during the course of the investigation. Of course, everybody gonna lie about,
right, no doubt.
The sexual harassment, I think it comes in when people of different ranks are having sex with each other. That's why they say don't do it, because you don't know if a lower ranked person is only having sex with the higher ranked person out of intimidation and force.
Right. I do understand that. Yeah.
And I worked at university for years, and they tell us it's an absolute no having sex with students.
Right.
Even though the students are adults.
Right.
And even though the professors might get along with certain students, I've seen relationships actually pop off. I know a couple that got married, a professor student ended up getting married, but the dean is against any sort of relations like that because of the power dynamic.
Exactly.
So I can understand that part. You still have that power dynamic in law enforcement because you're dealing with sergeants, lieutenants, captains, and then your average officer.
Right.
So I see how they don't want this happening.
Let me ask you this. Sergeant Powell, detective, was a Seneca or something like that. Can these guys still obtain a job with another police department?
Oh, absolutely. They can get hired somewhere else. This isn't like, they got officers that have violated shooting guidelines against people, killing unarmed people that get rehired at other departments. So these people can clearly get hired again. So I'm hoping Detective Seneca Shields, who was the black detective, and Sergeant Lewis Powell, and then of course Officer Juan Lugo, the only Latino of the group, and Sergeant Ty McGowan, I would anticipate all 4 of them will be hired in another department probably in the next year or so. But hey, man, this kind of reminds me of the whole Megan Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez thing, because we have, there's fucking going on all different angles. Tory's having sex with with Maegan behind Kelsey's back. He started having sex with her first, and then we learned that Kelsey actually had a boyfriend, and then Maegan has a boyfriend, and Tory's trying to is hitting both of them, trying to hit Kylie, and it just created a recipe for disaster.
No doubt, Alex, but some of us grew up like that, bro. You know what I mean? And people can look down on it, people can frown upon it. You know what I mean? And you know, even some of us just grew up swinging, bro. You know, and it was normal to us. You know, we knew he was crossing the line on a lot of things. You know, but we didn't take nothing. We didn't, you know. So it was, you know, everything was consensual. It's just how it was. You know, was it a scandal involved? Definitely, you know, but that's just how, you know, especially some of the dudes in the hoods, because there's only so many bras, you know, in the hoods and the surrounding hoods, you know. But
people's emotions that get involved in this, and you don't know how someone's going to react. You don't know how hurt someone's going to feel, how angry they're going to get, and that's the unpredictable part of it.
Oh no, I've seen it go all bad in certain situations. I've seen, you know, I mean, real bad, you know, and you know, because you also dealing, you know, because I take it to the hood level, you know, you dealing with hood chicks. They'll come stab you. I mean, they, you know, I done seen a lot of things happen, you know, and but I do understand the dynamics, and I don't care where you at, Alex, in the hood, in the White House. You know what I mean? There's gonna be some fucking going on, bro, and that's just the nature of the beast. You know, they just not getting caught. They just not all over the news with it. They're able to be professional enough, because this shit is going on somewhere else, bro, right now as we speak. It's just they not getting caught with it. You know what I mean?
And also in this case over in Laverne, Tennessee, they was also sharing photos and naked pics and all that crazy stuff in the workplace environment. So you know, that is definitely going to be problematic when you have an employer and you guys is fucking on the job and then sharing explicit photos with each other. You know, eventually this was going.
Well, let me ask you this, you know, because I would honestly want your opinion on this, Alex. You get a job, you happen to like a girl on the job. You know, technically it wasn't no rule against it in the field that you were in. You know, you had sex with the girl, y'all had sex a few times. You come to find out that somebody else see how she looked at you one day, tap you on the shoulder and say, bro, don't get too serious. You know, and you like, you know, what do you mean? And you find out that she had been having sex with 6 other people at the job. What's your reaction at that moment?
I would be a little pissed. I'd be pissed at myself that I didn't even know that you was this type of chick. Because usually I'm a good judge of character. I usually could tell a hoe when I meet a hoe.
Right.
You know, you can't really trick me. If you a hoe, I'm gonna figure it out.
Figure it out.
But if she was doing it, I'd be mad at myself first, and then I'll cut her off.
Oh, no doubt, you know what I mean? But at the same time, that's dangerous nowadays, bro. Well, shit, it's always been, you know. That's dangerous, you know, and but yeah, it's possible. It's highly possible. Look, it's highly possible that people are doing this shit and finding out too late, you know, that this what it is. But that's a unique situation, man, and it's far from funny just based on because they got fired. I hate to see people lose they bread, you know, over some coochie. That's what I hate to see. You know what I mean?
I wonder if they could appeal it and get their job back. But it's in the policy. It's in the manual that you can't be doing none of this stuff. You know?
No doubt. You know what I mean? And I wouldn't even. I believe they may not even try. I'm gonna tell you what could happen. Some of them could finally, eventually leave this small town, go somewhere, man, have a prosperous life, and be way better off, just emotionally, physically, financially, and say, damn. Why didn't I make this move 10 years ago? You know what I mean? I mean, all those things are possible, you know. But we definitely going to have to check back in on that.
The department said that these items are offensive, inappropriate, and can lead to a hostile work environment for other employees. What do you think about that?
It could, you know, it could lead to, I'm going to tell you what it's going to lead to, jealousy. You know, because it's a couple dudes who found out that she was promiscuous, found out that she, you know, had that fire head, and they couldn't get none, you know, because she already had the circle that she had moving around in a circle. So they were pissed that they couldn't get none. Even the one guy, Magliocco, Patrick, you know, Patrick lied at first, you know what I mean, to say that he wasn't in on it. And then once they showed him a little evidence, he came and spilled the beans about everything. But it's some guys in that department that, because they weren't getting any, they was the ones who probably spreaded more rumors than the guys who was.
And I really can't hate on Shields, Detective Seneca Shields, because when he was asked during an investigation, he said, and I quote, "I ain't never had sex with Maegan Hall." But then later he admitted that she had performed oral sex on him while on duty.
While on duty, man. That's what got him.
Yeah, that's what got him. But hey, when I was a professor at Cal State Dominguez Hills, I had this girl that was beautiful. She sat right in the front row, and she had a nice body. She was sexy, everything. And then after the very first day of class, she came up and spoke to me, and she was just very flirtatious. And I was like, man, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So then about a week later, after class, she came up to me and she said, "I saw you looking at my ass." And I was like, whoa, I'm the professor here. You ain't supposed to be talking to the professor like that. She said, "Yeah, but I saw you looking at my ass, Alex." I was like, whoa, we on a first name basis now?
Right.
So I was like, look, this ain't going nowhere. I don't even know why you're coming at me. So when she started doing this to me, I thought it was like a setup.
Right.
I was like, the university is testing me. They sent this cop in here.
Yeah.
So then like for the next couple of weeks, she was just on me. And then one day she says, "Look, I'm going to drop your class." I was like, "Why?" This is what I told her. I said, "Look, if you're really interested in me, wait till the class is over, wait till the semester's over, and then holla at me." And she said, "No, I'll just drop the class right now. I'm going to drop the class. If I drop the class, is that okay?" I said, "No, I don't want you to drop the class. Take the class." So for this whole semester, this girl was on me. She was in my office. She was just walking with me across campus. And then at the end of the semester, I said, "So what's up?" And then she said, "I'm not interested no more." But I thought she was a plan initially.
Yeah.
And I kept away from her. And, there's professors that do it.
Oh, no doubt.
I mean, I know these professors personally.
Yeah,
we all sit around the table and talk about these crazy stories. But I always feel like if it's too risky for me to do anything like that.
I mean, it is, but it's in every profession, man.
Yeah, it is.
It's from college professors to prison guards. This thing go.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what I mean? This thing go around, bro. So. I just, like I say, I'm gonna go back to. I won't even judge her. That ain't what I'm into, man.
Who, Maegan Hall?
Maegan Hall.
She's not getting judged?
Nah, man, she ain't getting judged. She wanted to be a thought. You know what I mean?
Getting tossed up by 6 officers.
She was having a damn good time. She probably was happier than me and you, Alex. You know what I mean? She probably coming to work every day with a smile on her face, man.
Oh man.
But
I bet she's regretting it now.
No doubt. And that's why I say I ain't gonna beat her up, because I know she and them are beating up themselves. One dude, I believe it was Larry Powell, his wife say he can't see the kids no more, and and shit, he probably headed for divorce as well as no job. Shit didn't work out well as of right now for him, and bro, so I ain't gonna make no fun of them, because I know they finna suffer some hardships.
But wasn't the husband, I guess, in an open relationship, so he shouldn't trip on this, because he probably knew his wife was active like that?
No, I'm not talking about Maegan's husband. I'm talking about one of the sergeants.
Oh,
his
okay.
wife.
Oh, yeah.
His wife is, says it's gonna be a problem, and so hey.
Oh yeah, because now we didn't even talk about that. The wives of these other officers.
Bro.
They're pissed, and you just hurt their feelings, and you don't know if one of these wives is gonna show up with a pistol in her hand and get to busting on somebody.
Man, real talk, and it really can happen.
Yeah.
Let me say this: it has happened.
It has happened.
Somewhere, it has happened. So
that's why I kind of like I kind of talk a little bit about this in a way that people need to be a little bit more responsible, but everybody says I'm too old. I'm getting called the old man around here, man. But I mean, I understand that people want to have their fun and do their thing, but damn, six motherfuckers.
Oh no, I got you, bro. I feel you. No, I feel you. I ain't co-signing for her. I'm just saying I ain't gonna get on her helmet right now. But I'm the same way. Like, damn, when in my mind, I'm like, damn, she was swinging.
Yeah, she was.
But no doubt, but it's definitely going to hurt some families, bro. It's going to be some kids 20 years from now to say, "Dad, you broke up our family."
Yeah, and then you're embarrassing the kids.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's going to be, kids at school going to be clowning you. You know what I mean? Your dad fucking with prostitutes, and they going to say every bad thing they can say. You know what I mean? So it takes a toll, man, on the family.
All right, well, I'm going to post a couple pictures on the Instagram page. Make sure you tap in with street.and.scholars. We're gonna put pictures of all these officers on there, especially the one we didn't even talk about this, but apparently he told investigators that Hall, which is the female cop, told him about Powell had a big black dick and claimed that she had performed a sex act on them while the pair were in the clock. I don't know what that means. We're on the clock. We're on the clock. Yeah. So I'm gonna put a link to this article, and then I'm gonna post some of these photos at the Instagram page street.and.scholars, and tell the people where they could tap in with you on your video that you did on bro that just almost got killed by the sheriffs, man.
Oh, no doubt. Come check me out over there at FG Unleashed. Also, come over there to F General 1 on Instagram on both channels. Hey, give me subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Hit those like buttons, man.
And if you're listening to us on the Apple Podcast, why don't you go on and click that link right there and leave us a comment, leave us a review, and we'll read that comment on the air. And if you're listening on different platforms, iHeart, Spotify, Google, make sure you're following Streets and Scholars Podcasts. And tap in with me, Alex Alonso 101. I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Follow me there, Alex Alonso 101. And of course, I post all the video content from this podcast and other interviews I do at Street TV on YouTube. And thanks for tapping in with another fire episode of Streets and Scholars.